Good afternoon on what has turned out to be a bright, warm and sunny afternoon. It is Thursday the 7th of October and I'm back in the reading nook with some parcels and of course a nice hot cup of tea. So the first thing I'm going to unbox is not one of these, but is in fact this. Okay, this is the Red Book of Magic, which is for RuneQuest, Roleplaying Glorantha, and this is, as the name suggests, it's the magic supplement for the game. Now, magic plays an incredibly important role in Glorantha because it literally infuses the world, and everyone in it has access to magic. So at a base level they have access to spirit magic, basically minor magics which they can cast at will, and then they also have rune magic, which is powered through the runes they associate with through their cults, and thus connect to their gods back in god time, and part of it, basically it's a fundamental part of the world of Glorantha. Of course there is sorcery as well, and there are other forms of magic which are available. So really, essentially, this isn't such an unboxing, but it is an unwrapping, so still going to do an unboxing video on it. So nice slim hardback, and essentially this is the equivalent of the Grand Grimoire of Lovecraftian magic for the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game, which has its own magic, which on the whole you don't want to cast or even learn. So, RuneQuest, rune magic, rune and spirit magic. The Red Book of Magic is the ultimate guide to spirit and rune magic. Written by Zorazabar, the Sorcerer Supreme, this indispensable arcane tome contains all known spells of the Gloranthan cults and shamans, making an essential aid for players and game masters. The Red Book of Magic contains over 500 rune spells, rituals and spirit magic spells, many of which are published here for the first time. New magical creatures such as war trees, giant looms, manlings and luxites to pit against adventurers and foes alike. Information about rune metals, healing plants and illusions. Rules for using ritual practices and other methods to improve your chances of spellcasting success. The esoteric secret of Hafaron's statement of magic. Rules for devising your own rune spells. The Red Book of Magic is the definitive reference for spirit and rune magic. Spells include refinements, corrections and expansions from those presented in the RuneQuest rules, all within one easy-to-use volume. Now that's important because essentially magic in RuneQuest role-playing Glorantha, the rulebook, is spread into separate chapters, and that's understandable, but it's a fairly thick rulebook, so you're leafing through the rulebook to try and find the right page, and that can be a little bit I would say a little bit time consuming when you're in the middle of a game, or it's a combat, or that sort of thing. But having a slimmer, handier tome nearby, with everyone having access to it at the table, is actually really kind of useful. So what have we got in here? Let's just point out that it sports a thoroughly excellent cover by Mark Smiley. Mark Smiley. Mark Smiley. Basically, I think representative for the Artesia comic book and role-playing game, which you may remember from a few years ago because it did win the Origins Award. So this is essentially. Let's have a look. It's laid out the standard style for the line. So we do open with that Hafaron's statement of magic, and I do apologise if I'm pronouncing Hafaron wrong. But we basically, that's his statement of magic, and then we go into spell terminology and explanation of the various aspects of spells. And then you'll talk about runic association, spell effects, boosting a spell. So a caster may always use additional magic points to boost a spell regardless of types. Though some rune spells may require rune points for boosting. So you've got rules for increasing the chances of success, such as meditation, ritual practices, augmentation with dance, sing, speaking a magical language, or other appropriate skill. There we go. So in the long term, that's kind of useful for casting spells. And in a lot of cases, the player characters will be casting spells in the immediate situation. So whether that's a befuddle or a speed dart in combat, it might be a glamour before going into an audience, or doing a performance. So then we go into the rune spell descriptions, and really basically they're just organised alphabetically. So we start off with A, and absorption, and accelerate growth, and so on. Basically you'll see if the spell is related to a particular rune, so you do need to know your runes. So for example, a fixed darkness is associated with the darkness rune, and you've got essentially and that ghost rune does that again and again. Let's have a look. Bear skin, of course, is associated with the beast rune, so that's handy, but you do need to know your runes. So yeah, you've basically got pages and pages of rune magic. So the first, let's have a look. Actually, page 10. So I'm up to page 88. A lot of summon spells. We're going to transform, water walk, whirlpool, all the way down to windward, wither, wolf hide, wolf running, wolf's heads. Okay, so yeah, there is 90 pages of rune spells in here, and basically that's really a case of I think the other thing that perhaps might have been useful possibly is associating particular spells with particular cults, but you can't have everything. But I mean, obviously, when the Gods and Cults 2 volume set finally comes out, then you'll be able to make that association a bit tighter, and in some ways this will be the companion volume to it, because essentially that will provide all the details of all the spells that you can learn as a member of those cults. So I'm going to go to spirit magic, and that gives a guide to learning spirit magic, and you've got basically how does spirit magic appear, sound and feel. So that's an interesting thing to look at, because essentially you don't often think about that when you're playing. You just cast it, and we look at the source of spirit magic, and then we have a complete list of all the spirit magic spells there, and an explanation beyond. So so this really only runs from, let's have a look, we've got basically we start off with befuddle, 110, and we go all the way through to let's have a look, 122, visibility. So yeah, that's more or less it. There is, let's have a look, page 47. There basically there is a section, in the middle here, which is which I didn't quite get, but let's have a look. 47. Essentially, where we do have discussions of rune metals, and that's important because they can they can be enchanted and become important to particular cults. And these are essentially sectioned off in particular. They've got boxed out text, so illusions is on there. I think there is more in here of this separate content, but it's not given its own section. as such. It's amongst the other content, and then healing plants. Now, I'm not. Might have been more useful if they had been in a separate section, so that, you know, like supplementary information or rules. But that's you know, that's by the by. So yeah, I mean, obviously, and it's the most basic. Again, ancestral spirits, that sort of thing. That's useful for your shaman and the like. So yeah, at its most basic, this is just a list of spells. But I think, obviously, with anything like that, it's worth digging into and seeing what you can do, learning what you can do with these spells and how they impact upon the setting and the world around the player characters. Finally, probably indispensable for play, because this is a book which will sit at the table, and everyone needs access to it, because they have rune spells, they have spirit spells these days, and that's standard. And having something like that to hand is always useful. So that's Red Book of Magic from Chaosium for RuneQuest Role-Playing in Glorantha. Well, thank you very much for watching another unboxing here in the Nook. If you've enjoyed this one, please do click the like button down below. And thank you very much if you posted a message or anything like that. Do take the time to read those and respond. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to yet more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me with some parcels and a book or game, which I can talk about for about the 10 minutes to the best extent of my knowledge, all accompanied, of course, by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do hit that subscribe button. In the meantime, thank you very much for watching another unboxing in the Nook video. I'll be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.